Welcome to Big Blend Radio's first Friday Toast to the Arts and Park show with the National Parks Arts Foundation, who are known for their amazing artist residencies in parks across the country. This episode features Tijuana Ricks and Anthony Pirro, who visit Hawaii this summer 2025 as the National Parks Arts Foundation's Artists in Residence at Hawaiʻi Volcanoes National Park. Tijuana Ricks is an actress, writer, and director known for her work on Showtime's Billions and Netflix's Marvel series like Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Her partner, Anthony Pirro, has a diverse background as a marine biologist, genomics researcher, and educational leader, and he's produced creative projects that include the animated feature Pigeons in Paradise. Enjoy our conversation with them. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have Tijuana Ricks here and Anthony Pirro join us. They were the artists in residence at the National Parks Arts Foundation's. They stayed in the art house. That's what we call it, the art house, the art Airbnb, when they did the residency for Hawaiʻi Volcanoes National Park. So welcome, both of you. How are you?
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
So this is so cool. I know that you both are doing so much in the world of creativity, whether it's acting, producing, educating. Anthony, I know your background is also in marine biology, so I'm going, he wanted to go to Hawaii. Was this your instigation? Who started this? Who wanted to apply for this residency?
He always wants to go to Hawaii. I'm just going to say that.
That's true.
I was going through all your bios and everything. I'm like, okay, I think Anthony had a hand in this. And then the storytelling. So I know that you're really master storytellers, and there's so many ways of doing it. And you both have academic backgrounds. Tijuana, I know, also on the psychology side, right? So,
Yeah.
were the people of Hawaii of interest to you in going to this residency?
Do you want to speak on?
Asking you, were the people of interest to you?
Yeah, for you, the people,
Completely.
from this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
I know you've been a psychologist in a lot of shows. I'm just saying, can I come see you? I bring my own couch.
It depends on what the hourly rate is I can charge. Then we.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, they're all people in different cultures. They're always of interest to me, especially as, my first career in the entertainment business is as an actor, but also a director and screenwriter and human psychology and how people think and why they do what they do and make the decisions they make and the things that they hold dear is always of interest to me, because that's how you build character. That's how you make a real living, breathing person when you're creating a character for the screen, for stage, for
any of it. Yeah. Also, I think, with all the artists we've interviewed over the years at this residency for Hawaiʻi Volcanoes National Park, what attracts them is how the people are so resilient and stay there through all these different volcanic eruptions. And there's an attraction to the volcanic eruption too. We're like moths to the flame, right?
Yeah.
So there's something to be said with that. So did you pick up any of that while you were there on the human psyche?
Oh, yeah. And we were fortunate enough to be there during 3 eruptions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we went and sat front row for 2 of them. And by the 3rd one, we were like, oh, been there, done that. So it's always interesting. It's fascinating. It was just a matter of the time crunch, because it was the last day we were in town.
Yeah.
Before we left, and it was okay, so we could make the trip out there, but no, it is fascinating, and the culture of the people of Hawaii it's part of the reason why we were there. Anthony, he's been very quiet right now, but he was the reason we were there. He wrote a screenplay.
I knew it. I had a feeling you were just there's the biology side, but then there's the human side. So does the geology also interest you on that? Because doesn't the geology go with the marine biology?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, definitely the landscape in Hawaii is someplace you've never ever seen before. If you haven't been, it's just there's so much. And even the different types of lava that we were learning about, when it's smooth and viscous or when it's sharp and bubbly, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it all has an impact. I feel I don't know what attracted. Well, a few years ago, I was house sitting and dog sitting for some friends over in Kauai, and I was driving by, and there were a bunch of small group of people. There were a bunch of protesters that were talking about the Hawaiian sovereignty movement, which I'd never heard of. I was and then I got kind of curious about it and did a little bit of research and found out, about all the history of the Hawaiian kingdom and how it was kind of taken by the U.S. government and Queen Liliuokalani, who was kind of put under house arrest, and all of these pieces. And it happened to be around 2021 when I was learning this. And there was just all this talk in the ether about
succession and secession and pulling away from the United States and the possibility of, and we're back there again.
The politics of the day were, and I just thought, well, how timely is this, right? So like with all the nonsense everyone's talking about, this was pre-election before 2024, and people were saying like, well, what's going to happen? Are things going to break off? And I was like, well, Hawaii would be like primed and ripe to kind of reestablish itself as a kingdom. And so that was the story I was writing and looking to do research on. So when we did the application for the for Hawaiʻi Volcanoes National Park, I mean, one of the things we put in the very end of the application was like, if Pele feels like it wants to put on some fireworks and erupt for us, by all means, please do. And that was about a year ago. And then 6 months later, things erupted nonstop every week for the past, 3, 4, 5 months or whatever. So it's been pretty great.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, but yeah, the history of Hawaii, it's definitely going through its cycles, and it's kind of interesting now of how everything is moving, and even doing a residency, with everything that's happening with our National Park Service as well. I'm supposed to be very careful about what I say, but that's the thing, I think what's so beautiful about this residency that NPAF does, the National Parks Arts Foundation, is that it allows storytelling. And I think the arts have always, always, always told the truth more than anything else, even our history books maybe, which we still need to protect, just saying. The history. So do you feel like you're part of that going there and, being part of the process of seeing what's happening, human and nature, geology, all of that you witnessed history and can use that in storytelling for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it all plays a piece, all has an impact on it, right? I mean, we're based in LA, and just like the ICE raids that are going on with people being taken off the streets, I feel like it's been a part of the real conversation here. And then I follow a group of people in Hawaii, and they were saying that there were like ICE, I don't want to say raids, but there were people like ICE agents milling about in certain locations in the Big Island. And it was just like, we didn't see that when we were there, but it was happening here in LA by the time we got back. And it strikes me as, you're saying something about like, history is all about telling the truth. And I was like, well, I feel like then there's a real push and need to kind of tell the truth about why these people are here and what they're doing and how is this related to what happened 100 years ago. And, it's all connected, right?
Yeah. And how it's all still present with the people of Hawaii. Also, I mean, we had conversations with people who were, more familiar with the how Hawaiians feel about the Hawaiian sovereignty movement and the annexing of Hawaii by the United States, or as they would say, but that there are different factions even within that. And again, that goes to the people, how people digest all of that information and how they then proceed to go through life. So there are different factions even within the sovereignty movement that we were able to find out about, which otherwise, if we weren't boots on the ground in Hawaii, we would, you might stumble upon it maybe in your research at some point, but to hear it straight from the people firsthand, how they feel about these things it's so important when you're trying to make the art and tell the truth.
Right. And the thing too, what's so important about our national parks, right? The national parks are beautiful and preserving all this natural wonder, right? Whether it's geology, the fish, the birds, the animals, the plants, it's also telling the human story. And so that's the thing. We travel full-time documenting parks and public lands and pet sitting and house sitting too. So if you hear a dog, I'm just saying it may happen. So I'm serious. So anyway, the reality is we're always trying to make the human connection back to the parks because someone was always in those parklands, especially our indigenous people, right? And in war times and all these different things. And if we don't make that human connection, sometimes it gets lost. It's beautiful. It's a playground. Well, the parks are more than a playground. And that's an important thing. We need recreation and things like that. And we need nature for our own human selves, right? Because we are part of nature. We are actually animals in a way, right? Or we are animals, sorry, but it's true. So going into that and going in as storytellers, you were able to bridge that part, do you feel? Like, here's
Absolutely.
this... Yeah, the then and now.
Yeah, one of the things I would encourage people to do if they go and explore those parks is to everybody thinks of Volcano National Park, and there's the one big Volcano National Park of Kilauea. But there's also the offshoot where we did our presentation in the Kahuku unit in the Ka'u district. And we spent a lot of time there because that's where we did the presentation for the fellowship, and got to know the ranger there and the young rangers in training at the park, and they gave their very first nature trail tour, and we were able to
that's so cool.
join that. And it was really informative, and also in that exact same way that you're talking about, of like the reminder of like the indigenous people that were here, and they told the story of the lands and the different sort of trees that have always been there, and some that were brought in, and some that are not so great for the environment, but they're trying to control like the ecosystem of it, of how the people and the land, are.
Well, in Hawaii, they're the same
symbiotic.
thing, right?
They are the same thing.
AINA is the word for the people and the land. They are the same thing, right? So you can't help but have an impact on both, right?
Yeah, it's all connected. We are all connected, right? And I think that's one thing the parks do, is make us realize the web of life. And that includes the humans. And so many times the humans are left out of the web of life, which is why we're not always getting it about preservation and conservation and even interpretation. But when you think about storytelling, which I know is something that you both do in all different ways, right? No, you also produce podcasts, you produce all kinds of stories, movies, everything, right? And produce, star in them, be a shrink in them. More than that, you've killed people too. So, I'm kind of
people
nervous.
Been killed, doctors, lawyers.
I was telling Nancy, I don't know, she could kill me right through Zoom. I don't know. But and then he could save me and put me in the ocean. I don't know. But the ocean is healing, right? So, but the reality is going to a place like this and being immersed for a month. Like, what was that? Like, Tijuana, for you, I know you're used to shooting and doing. What was it like to go, okay, we're going to one place for a month and just immersing ourselves? And I know you can travel out and do all kinds, like their NPAF, National Parks Arts Foundation, is pretty open to, like, you want to change how you see something and what you want to create. They're really be the artist you want to be, right? So what was it like getting there and then just diving in, and what did you start working on? What was it? What was the experience?
It was wonderful. I mean, like a part of, did have a little anxiety as like an actor. You're always like, when's that next job going to come? Am I going to be able to do it from all the way over here? But what was great about the house is it actually has a sound studio in it. And a large part of my career these days is voiceover.
Nice.
That gave me a bit of a sigh of relief of like, okay, a lot of the last minute work that I get they're ads for, the radio or dubbing for.
She says, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to heal you.
Television stuff. I know. I can sell you a pharmaceutical like over the.
Oh my gosh, and then, you got a biologist here could tell you, like, don't take this because of this.
Like, I don't understand why they have to say that every time. But hey, I will say it. That's what you want me to say, I will say it. But it had a sound studio, so it made it so much easier to do the work. And I did a self-tape. I did some auditions. The house was set up in a lovely way to be able to continue the other outside work and still be able to isolate enough to do the work that we're going to do. We did our presentation that we ended up doing there was on classical storytelling techniques and how they apply to screenwriting. So we used
Finding Nemo, which, as someone who has a background with marine biology, I mean, that was such a fun story. It's one of my favorite films, right? It's considered something close to a perfect film, and it has that whole arc for character and has the emotional arc for everything. So I was surprised because originally we were focusing on like the Hawaiian, the script that got us into the residency was called Free Hawaii, and it was about some of the politics of the Hawaiian sovereignty movement. So this was kind of a shift away from that a little bit. So I feel like I was a little worried that we were going to give this presentation in the park around something that was kind of general and vague, but it turns out we had a packed audience. Like all the seats were filled. People asked great questions. I think we had people kind of laughing and having a good time with it. And we used examples from Finding Nemo. So like, even if you weren't familiar with the story, it was enough information there for people to kind of follow along and understand why it works and what makes it such a successful story for us. It was a great
when storytelling, though, in a way, so the audience may not be in the creative field, but are really interested in it or be from that, right? But is there the reality that nothing happens without storytelling? in a way. When
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day, knowing that you guys were coming on, and I was like, the word storytelling just kept up. Everything you were doing in Hawaii, storytelling, storytelling, storytelling. And I'm like, nothing even sells in the world without a story behind it. No
Yeah.
one, like a story, if you have to like talk about medical stuff, right? You want to get someone into the hospital to have a surgery and they're like, I don't want to go no hospital. I don't want to do this, I don't want that. And then you need to say, well, there's this person that went there and they did this and maybe we'll help them. And I was thinking about this importance, like nothing happens without storytelling, nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing more human than a
Yeah, I
storytelling.
mean, it's our oldest form of communication, whether it was writing on the wall when we're telling a story, or it's, sitting around a campfire and everyone telling a story. It's like, it is how we make meaning in the world. It's how we communicate, how we make sense of what's happening around us.
Yeah.
And that's
As an
never-
educator, Anthony, does that important? Because I think in school it made all the difference, right? Is textbooks that just like gave you the paragraph, well, this went here and this date, that date, and like we go like Christopher Columbus on this date. Who cares? But then if you hear the stories of what he did, you're like, oh, that was cool, and then that was really not cool. Like, right? That was, there's these things. So the storytelling in teachers, in educators, in all these, isn't that what actually makes it work?
Absolutely. I mean, it's really kind of tapping into what people are going to hold on to. So one of the best examples I could think of is when I was a principal, one of the things we had to do, and this was for an elementary school, is we had to recruit new families, right? It was a zone district and families could come in, but they also had choice. So you weren't necessarily guaranteed to have children coming through your doors. So I would give tours every week and I would have conversations with families. And really what I was doing to basically like sell the school to new families was tell the story of why is this school important? What are we trying to accomplish? And how do you and your child fit in here? And honestly, the school before I got there had 10 years of declining population. And by the time I left, it was the first time they actually had an uptick in the population actually growing, because I kind of honed in on that idea of like, we live in 21st century America. What does that mean for your kid? The world's always talking about like career and college readiness. Like, what can you do to be a part of society? And really it became like, well, we know that, it's like back in the day, you didn't have a calculator. Now you have a calculator. You can do, all these digits and sums and all that kind of stuff. So it's not about that. It's like, well, now I have Google and I can look up answers to questions. So what am I teaching kids? What story am I telling? And it really comes down to like curiosity, creativity, asking good questions. So like all of those kind of soft skills that people say that really make us more interested in the world around us and help us make meaning. And that is something that I learned in the trenches of public education, but have held on to my entire life and has just seamlessly transitioned over into writing and making art and telling stories for us. And it's been great.
That's really huge because as we all fear AI and there's thievery going on in that too, which is, like that's a whole, don't even, it's a negative. But at the same time, I go like, as this continues on, it's the arts that will save us.
Yes.
The arts that are telling the truth through history, the arts that will, and as we lose funding for the arts too, right? Okay, so all the good stuff is getting whacked basically. And it's the reality, but we will prevail. And I feel like the people whacking it understand that, know that because it's part of our food. Like we cannot live without music, right? If you took music out of the world, like kill me now, like really just off me. I don't care to be here if there's no music and birdsong and anything like that. Like the arts will save us. So I want to go over to you, Tijuana. When you think about the arts and storytelling, has it changed in how to get things? Has it changed since you started? I know it changes according to is it a TV versus, film versus play versus writing and all of that. But has it changed in general over the years to being like, we have to shift our storytelling to make sure people hear, or do we stand out and go, no, we want you to come back to this? Is there a tenacity in, like, where are we on that?
It's interesting. I've had a lot of conversations with friends recently about this, and it's sort of speaking to the trends of the industry in general. And we were just looking at some statistics of like, speaking of like screenplays and feature films and what has been popular in the past few years. And they're calling this summer like a bust for blockbusters, for movies and that sort of thing. And I was like, this summer I saw some of the best movies I'd seen in a while. They were smaller films. And I think we moved back into, there was a cycle that was sort of in the of like independently produced feature films that were super popular, like Little Miss Sunshine and I'm blanking on other names.
Reality Bites. I'm gonna go there.
Reality Bites,
Everything
like
that
those,
Miramax put
yeah,
out.
everything that Miramax put out, all of those things that went to Sundance, and we suddenly knew what Sundance Film Festival was.
Oh
like,
yeah.
like it wasn't like an everyday person's thing. Nobody talked about it before, but those sorts of movies
That's interesting.
were like, they're coming back. Those smaller productions. We're done with these big, massive, Marvel movies and things like that. I've done a lot of them. Thank you, Marvel, for all the work that you've done in my time. I've done a lot of that. But it's not what people want anymore. We want authentic, smaller stories that we can identify with. And by smaller, I don't mean like simple or just like it's the more complex and interesting and like specific, speaking back to like, Hawaiian culture and those sorts of things and representation on film, the more specific that you can get, the more I feel like it becomes universal. People can see themselves in that. Everybody thinks that their family is absolutely unique, but as soon as you see that family story of someone struggling with the same thing that you struggled with as like a teenager, and it's a different culture, it doesn't matter because it's the emotion that you connect with. Like that complexity of emotion is universal despite whatever culture. And that's the stuff we want to see. I think we're craving, good-hearted sort of small, intimate stories, and that the big, massive, we
want to go back to matte film.
Yeah, we want to go back to simple, and people talking.
I want a scrapbook.
Yeah.
And to reiterate,
and in the culture, we've moved into things like people are buying Polaroid cameras again, and like going back to shooting cassette tapes, and like records, albums have sold more in the last couple of years than they have in decades.
Oh, they sound better.
I mean, I was just going to reiterate. I think it's really about authenticity, right? People, we're a very intelligent group of consumers these days, right? So when you see something put in front of you and it doesn't pass that sniff test, where it just doesn't feel authentic or real, and it just feels forced, whether it's a commercial or it's a movie or a TV show or a song or it's something that came out of AI, you figure it out pretty quickly, and it doesn't hold. It doesn't the word of mouth spreads very quickly. That's why you see things like, you just saw Weapons in the theater, which you loved, and a lot of they had a great campaign to get it going with ads and stuff, but word of mouth on that has been fantastic, right? And that's why it's doing so well. It's such a story that people are holding on to.
Yeah.
Word of mouth can nail you too. If it's bad, it's going to wipe you out quicker than it will grow you.
Yeah. And that sort of community, that's basically what word of mouth is, like building community of people who all enjoy the same things, who want to share it. And, it's bringing us back to that around the fire time of like, or as they would say in the 80s and 90s, that water cooler discussion of like things like we want to be able to talk to people about those, those experiences that you have. But I also think that like that's what's going to save us from the AI.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think we're having that cycle. Like, I'm sorry, but I think everything in the 80s was fantastic. And the 70s. That when the movies and everything, it was so real, and we had just these, it was just, you wanted to connect with the characters, even if it was the villain, and you connected. You're like, I'm not going to tell anybody, but like, I get that. I get that. You want that connection. And the more we get robotic and AI'd, yes, use it for research. And as we get to understand these are tools to watch and not take verbatim, right? To really, and that's important that we don't, but it makes us want to go more human. And it's the same as like, okay, we have AI, and you could go and make a TV series or a film and put Hawaiʻi Volcanoes National Park in it, right? And never have been there because there's enough B stock, there's enough AI footage, there's enough stuff to do it. But having been there, do you think it would be completely bogus for you to do without having been there?
Absolutely. I think and you can smell it when it's not authentic. And like I said, I think that's what's going to save us from the people want that experience in reality, and they want it interpreted by another human being. You can tell the difference. And that's something AI can't do. And the funny little phrase everyone has been saying.
Yeah, I had to do my laundry, not my art.
Yeah, well, there's that one, but there's also the AI doesn't have my childhood trauma. Like you can't like interpret it doesn't understand emotions. It doesn't understand what it is to go through that. It doesn't understand what it is to actually stand in a place and be there and know what that feeling is when you're taking it all in.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, after we came back from the Big Island, I was just so enamored and did a bunch of found a bunch of books and went up to Reddit and I was like, does anybody have any good suggestions for books? And I've got a stack. It's like 4 or 5 different books, and like reading them. And actually, a better example, visual example would be we're watching Chief of War on Apple right now, which takes place in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
And
apparently it's been doing really good. Yeah,
I really like it. I think it's great. I think they did a really fantastic job. I love that most of it's in the Hawaiian language and things like that. But just even seeing the visual images of some of like the Waipo Valley, for example, you're like, oh my God, I've been there. I've seen that firsthand. I know what it smells like. I know what it feels
it's
like.
real.
Yeah, it's real. And you just like, you get it, you know? And so
Rick St. Nicholas helped with the Capes, who's a National Parks Arts Foundation artist in residence.
Capes are stunning, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, so you get to have, it's real. Like, we've lived in different countries and someone will so my mom's a wildlife artist, right, Nancy, and she just goes berserk. She'll go to see an art thing, an art show, and someone will have like a leopard painting or something and go, oh yeah, this is a leopard. And she goes, no, that's not a real leopard. It's taken in a zoo. Or like, you've done it, you haven't been out in Africa where I grew up, you haven't been in the wild, in the bush where we were. And like, no, that is just, that's like the AI version. And then we will have AI take a leopard from a zoo and even make it fatter and full of even more antibiotics. But anyway, so that's what happens. Don't start. Yeah. 5 legs. Exactly. Yeah. And oh my God, the worst thing is they'll have cheetah prints on the leopard.
Yeah.
She's sitting up on the couch right now.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? That's that thing of where we're at. So so maybe this is a golden door.
Yeah.
Right? For the arts to return.
It's definitely a challenge, but you have to reframe it as an opportunity, right? And it's hard. I mean, like, there's some days we're both like looking at you like, yes, we got this. We're going to keep moving. We're telling our stories. We're making art. And those days, like, you wake up and you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, the world is imploding and who cares about what we're doing? So like, it's a constant back and forth. But I mean, I was in education for 20 years and I've always had that artist drive in me. And even before school, I was in rock bands and played music, and there was like always this drive to create, and you just can't help it at some point. Like, you have to make things, you have to create, and if
it's in you, you have to be who you are.
We came home the other night.
I don't care what industry you're in.
Yeah. We came home the other night and there was a protest artist piece that was, I mean, the guy didn't have to be out there. He wasn't getting paid to do this. He had like a projector that was set up like outside
on the median of a
highway, and projecting onto a building nearby his like protest art. And it actually it energized me to see like, wow, I like wanted to roll down the window. I was like at a light and couldn't like be like, yeah, like, dude, like, congratulations, this is awesome. Like, you do it because you can't help it, and like you need to get it out there and speak the truth, like you said.
And then weeks later we're still talking about it. It's still making an impact, right? So like, great art sticks with you.
See, but that's the thing, you wish you could go up to him and say something, right? So how many people do you both affect with your work and never get to see? You see the reviews or, those kinds of things, but you don't know that person that profoundly got moved, sometimes, so you have to kind of hope it's out there, know it's out there. Isn't that a weird thing?
It is, but it's great. I just thought of a story. So there's this other screenwriter that I've been talking with online for a couple of years now. And he and I just kind of hit it off. We've never actually met in person, but we both enjoy each other's stories and we trade scripts and give notes and things like that.
Cool.
And then maybe 6 months or a year ago, he found out I was married to Tijuana, and he's like, wait, Tijuana Ricks? I was like, yeah. It's like, oh my God, every time I see her on film, she's so good. And it's like,
she could kill you and then heal you.
He had no idea. I just thought it was so sweet. And also, it touched me because like, you never know who's paying attention. And you do your thing. And in my career, I'd be considered a workhorse of those like actors that are, those people thing that you can never really like sort of pinpoint. You're like, I definitely know you. I've seen you once. And like and to hear that someone actually knew my name and had tracked my career was like, it was lovely to hear.
It was also It was on one of those days where it was like when the ebbs and flows, you were in one of those dips where it's like, what's the point of all this? And I was like, here, read this from Josh.
Yeah, he sent an email about it. He was like, oh my God. I was like, I got to read.
I've learned from a business coach once that when people send you really nice things and stories like that, you need to put them in a file. And when you have a bad day, you need to reread those because we tend to go on the negative. Our brains do that negative, stupid stuff, right? So the positive is always out there. I don't care who we are and what we're doing, it's always out there. So go to your positive file and reread that, and it shifts. It does work. It does work, I'll tell you, because
words matter.
But I want to tell you, Tijuana, it is important what you do. And I think this country hasn't quite gotten what you do. England gets it. Europe gets it. The character actor. Are you kidding me? We've done shows on this. And it's the epitome of a character actor who goes in and embraces it through mud, blood, whatever it is. It's not about, look at me. It's the character. And when you're on, you are like exactly who you are portraying. You're not there because some label or, no, that's a music thing, but I'm a musician. But you're not there because they're doing this, and you know what I mean? It's not a trying to be it's not just trying to be as clean as possible. It's very real and authentic. And the character actor, to me, there is no story or film or anything that makes it.
Yeah, one of the things in my training that I had, I just recently shared this with him because he was writing something and asking my opinion on something, and I was like, one of the things they taught us in training is the status of other people in the story moves along because of the people on the outside. They're the ones who, no one walks into a room and they're like, I'm the king, treat me like the king. When the king walks into the room, other people bow. Like that is how you get the story of where that person stands in the world. So that's why character actors are important. We build the story of whatever it is that you're trying to tell. We give the status to whoever it is. Yeah. Give and take power. We help move that story along.
The most important thing. Yeah, for sure. And then there's a whole other side of film and TV that people don't see. All the people that make the actual production come together. The makeup, all of that, the sets, the people that carry gear. As a musician, it's like, oh my God, you're carrying the amps in, you're carrying this, you're carrying that. There's so much that people don't understand that goes into it. So when you were in Hawaii and did your event where you got to talk to people, talking about storytelling, for them, they're probably going, oh, this is fantastic. These people have done all these things. And, so do you give any information for people throughout what you do, whether it was at that event or other things because on your site, you really do give here's all these people involved that I feel like sometimes we just put Hollywood as this glitz and glamour and don't understand the dirt, the hard.
And that industry right now, we're struggling. It's struggling right now after, COVID and the shutdowns then, and then after that, the strikes and, fighting for better healthcare and all of that stuff that eventually we all won, but feel like we lost because the corporations are pushing back on how much production they're actually going to do now because they have to pay.
And then moving productions out of the country.
Moving the productions out of the country. I have a ton of friends who are in production, who are the costume designers, who are the production designers, who are those, and they are struggling, as are we, the character actors who are on the outside and usually cast after the main people and cast locally.
Oh, wow.
So when they move the production out of the country, it's more than just the base production loss. You might see American leads and stars in these things, but everybody else on the outside.
Oh, nowadays, half of them are English.
Yeah, are local.
So for another example, you had a couple of auditions that were pretty high profile that you were in the running for. And then ultimately they moved the productions out of the United States and they hired local actors. And so
it's
and Hollywood's changed too. I mean, I know Louisiana has been, and that's your home state, has kicked some, movie butt, and then Atlanta and Georgia is really, Atlanta, you can't even drive there. And I say Tyler Perry did that.
Tyler Perry built, but it's also, there was an article out yesterday about how Atlanta is losing production. Marvel.
Really?
You know, Marvel again?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
They
you're
moved to
right.
the
Yeah.
UK.
They moved to the UK.
It's just cheaper for them
it's
because they don't have to
cheaper.
pay for healthcare. That's really what it comes down to. The labor is not necessarily better, but it's cheaper because they don't have the added
Healthcare costs.
benefits.
That's a whole other podcast. Don't
right.
start me.
Let's go down
Yeah,
this
well,
road.
things are interesting these days, aren't they? But yeah, overall, I think it's very, I saw someone get mad because podcasters, apparently, they're like, I didn't know podcasters ask for tips. Apparently, we get to be free. And I'm like, I didn't even want to start to answer this on Facebook because I was like, well, yeah, unless you're like a famous comedian, like, yes, and we try to be very ad free, and we're very you go on our website, the only ads you're going to see are people that we actually have relationships with. We don't have Google ads. You go on our site, there's nothing taking your information unless you click through to YouTube or to the podcast site itself. We are one of these very rare beasts, and it's a upper climb, but I feel like it's a worthy one.
You're an
I don't know
independent
how to
artist.
explain it. It's so important to try and do that if you can, and not everybody can.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
know,
We are
so-
very fortunate.
Yeah, we have to all do what we have to do. But I wanted to ask each of you going there, I know I've got these great photos of you going to your event, and you're holding these green things. Like,
Yeah.
what was in the green?
Yeah,
that you were
they
holding?
are
These gift bag, like gifts. They look like banana leaves or something.
yeah, I don't even know the names of the different because we were told both the English names, the scientific names, and actually some of the Hawaiian names. So like I'm so confused on what the plants were, but basically they were indigenous plants that traditionally they were used to carry things as packages. So they like wrapped the leaves,
Wow.
and inside each of our package was a hand braided lei from traditional ones, not like the ones you see like when you get off the airport and the
The
flowers
plumerias and
stuff,
all
but
that,
they're-
yeah.
Yeah, they're actually
Vines.
vines and different greenery.
Oh, so
and-
that's what you were wearing later. I
yeah.
see.
So that was what was inside. That was
Special.
so special. Really, just I think I wore it for about 4 or 5 days afterwards. Stop.
One of the
That's
rangers
cool.
made those for us and gave them to us as a gift. It was really
Yeah, and
Oh,
very cherished them. We brought them home with us. We're like, is it okay if we bring them? We brought them home with us.
we still have them.
Yeah, we still have them.
so what do you eat? What did you each take away from that experience? And are you going to write something from there or create something from there? So let's start with you, Anthony. Going from there, what was your big takeaway from Hawaii, and what moves forward? Yeah.
It's hard to say what my big takeaway was. I know I feel the pull to constantly go back. I think it's
Oh,
one of the few sources of contention in our relationship is that I feel like if she was like, hey, let's move to Hawaii tomorrow, I'm like, let's go. Like there's a pull there that I've felt for decades. My sister worked on the Big Island back in like 2004, 2005 in the education system. And that was the first time I ever went there and I visited, and it's stuck with me ever since. I don't know. And as in terms of like inspiration and things like that, yeah, I've got a couple of ideas that I've wrote down. Was thinking, I love a good murder mystery. So there's driving around in the Kau district, which is pretty rural, and just like saw like the one little police station and stuff, and I was like, there's a lot of
it's like a
opportunity
Twin
here.
Peaks in Hawaii.
Yeah. So there's an opportunity there I'm kind of exploring. One of the trips we took on the day of the new moon, so it was complete blackout. We drove up to Mauna Kea to see the stars, and kind of came up with another idea for like a Hawaiian version of the movie Contact, if you remember, the Carl Sagan. And there's a cross between Hawaiian mythology and the stars and that movie that I think I'm playing around with that I really kind of love.
That's cool. And you could still put murder in there. Could you stuff a body down a lava tube? I don't know why that just came to me. As soon as you said that, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, because we used to live out near Joshua Tree, and they bury people out there and stuff near Vegas and all that. And I was like, what would you do in Hawaii? In Louisiana, I know they think gators will just eat the body, but they leave parts, and that's how they know the bodies were. I was just having this conversation with someone. Anyway, that's weird.
Better to feed them to the pigs. We know.
Oh yeah, the pigs
Wild
will
boar,
take
yeah.
them down.
Or they'll take them down. Yeah.
Yeah, they will. I've
pigs in
seen the
Hawaii
wild
too.
boar
They
in
have pigs in
Louisiana.
Hawaii.
Oh yeah, that's right. But you know what? I think they're cute, and people don't. But I think they're cute. I went hiking out in Kasachi National Forest, and like there were little babies and mamas, and I was like, oh, they're so cute. Anyway, it reminded me of warthogs in Africa. But anyway, people don't think that way. But anyway, that's okay.
To go back to the first part of your question, like what was one of my big takeaways, besides the fact that I feel the pull to go there, is that the people are just everybody we met was just so open, so friendly, so warm and welcoming. We actually built relationships with a variety of people while we were there,
Yeah.
which was interesting because before we went over there, I think you were particularly scared more than I was about the idea of
Isolated.
being isolated and being alone out there, but also like telling a native Hawaiian story as non-Hawaiians, like that's not always well received. Quite honestly, people were curious, people were open. I just think that the people there in Hawaii are just special.
Yeah, I agree. That was going to be my thing. My takeaway
yeah.
was for sure, like I went a little apprehensive because I was like, okay, we're doing this project that is about Native Hawaiians, and I know it's not, it's not our culture, and we completely recognize that. And part of the reason we wanted to go there was to do the research, meet the people, feel, and maybe find collaborators for that are Hawaiian and do it. And people were so open to that possibility and wanted to know more. And we did meet Native Hawaiian people who were like, oh yes, well, you should talk to this person and you should do this, you should do, and like very much like interested in helping and opening their doors. I'd never visited a place before where we met strangers who were then like, come to my house, like almost immediately. And that happened multiple times while we were there on the fellowship. And we were like, yeah, I just was in the mood of being like, yeah, sure, why not? And we visited a couple of people that live there at their homes.
We went to a ranch. We went to a beekeeper's place. We went.
Oh, cool! Did you get local food then from their home? Like, did they cook you stuff? I have to ask because I always feel like the food tells you the story of people.
And we love food. We ate the food.
Okay, like, all right. So, what was the highlight of food? Let's go there because I've heard obviously coffee. Somebody told me they had berries from the park that they made pie with. A comedian that was there. Okay.
There's a place called
Super J's,
and it's basically about 12 years ago. Tijuana and I traveled for about 5 weeks through Indonesia, and it just became this thing where it's like anything that's wrapped in a banana leaf, I'll try it. And we followed like some Anthony Bourdain stuff and went down to see some places. It's really made an impact on our lives, I think, and just travel and food. And this place have like kalua pork just wrapped in, it's like tea leaf and banana leaf and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, yeah, lau.
It was just
lau.
So it is the leaf thing is a difference, right? It is.
Yeah, it was so good. And it's, it again, we make a point to find out where the locals eat. You don't want to go to, like, I want to know where the local #1 place is that people will trip out to go and see. And, we put out feelers for that. And Super J kept coming up over and over and over again. And we're like, okay, well, we got to go there. We're going to go.
And it didn't disappoint because you got the sticker.
It was so good. And the other place I really loved was, it was a Filipino fried chicken place called Broken Mouth in
Broke the Mouth.
Broke the Mouth. That's what it was called.
That's cool. I don't know. I feel like if I go to Hawaii, I'll never come back either.
I'm always a sucker for poke.
Yeah.
The poke. The poke. So a lot of people don't like that, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Delicious.
We love it.
Okay. So food is good. So, all right. So what can people expect moving forward from you guys from this residency? Or is it not anywhere to be able to tell yet?
Oh, that's a good question. So the script that got us this residency, we kind of spent some time while we were there kind of breaking it back down and trying to rebuild it. And we're at a bit of an impasse with it right now. So I'm kind of letting it marinate and sit on it.
That's what happens. For just about every artist that goes there, everything changes. We have this idea, we want to go, and NPAF is like, yay, cool. And then it changes, and NPAF is always, yay, cool. This is what happens. It changes once you get there, right?
Absolutely. And I really think that is one of the most special things about NPAF is that, I was talking to some other colleagues of mine, and they're like, well, what did you have to submit something at the end of it? Did you have to give them and I was like, no, it's your art. At the end of the day, you are there to focus on your art and have that amount of time to do that unfettered from the rest of the world and the rest of your life and all the things that are going on really gave us the opportunity to think deeply about some of the work, and which then leads down different roads. So it's hard to say where it's going to go right now, but
you have the art house.
Yeah. You
have the art house.
And you're in such a beautiful place, and and it's so quiet, and so it's perfect for working on your art. And we did both work on that script as well as, other projects that we were then like, oh, let me just open this up and take a look. Like it really did inspire moments. Let's just concentrate on those things that we had a difficult time concentrating on.
Well, isn't it different because you're in a shift of place? So it gives you this fresh perspective and it's more relaxed and this is what you're focused on. And it's like, all right, well, let's look at this. Oh, yeah, because you have this whole different calming, and you're in Hawaii. I mean, that's pretty, inspiring. So this is awesome. Thank you both for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. Everyone, TijuanaRicks.com is the website. It's linked in the episode notes. Thank you so much. And would you go back or would you do another one of theirs?
I'm hoping to get back this spring.
Yeah, we're already talking to Tom.
Oh boy, here it goes. See, this is what happens. You may have to do a series. The script may have to move to be a series. I'm just saying.
I mean, he has all those other ideas. Like could definitely, like you said, the Twin Peaks in Hawaii could be a series for sure.
Absolutely.
Shove a body down a lava tube. I don't know.
Use that.
And then go eat. Well, you won't eat pie, but you're gonna go eat some fried chicken, right?
Exactly. Gonna get something.
All right. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's first Friday Toast to the Arts and Park show with the National Parks Arts Foundation. Learn more about their amazing park artist residency programs. Go to nationalparksartsfoundation.org. Keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.